A very good evening to you and welcome to Nigeria Watch. This is BRTV, reaching you live from the city of God. Welcome to BRTV on your choice TStv decoder. We're so delighted to have you once again. It's a brand new week and a lot has happened in the political scene, the economy, and of course, people and governance. We'll be taking you through what's happening this evening, at least the past 12 hours. We'll be taking you through all of this. My name is Abasi Odu Idiong. You can follow me on your social media at Absobaba. We'll go started straight away on the show. Thank you for joining us on the program this evening. We're starting with the headlines. And this one is coming from the Punch. Headline says, Buhari swears in Ariwola as acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. Confers Tanko Mohammed with national honor. Of course, that is what's trending right now, that the president of the General Muhammadu Buhari on Monday swore in Justice Olukayode Ariwola as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria at the council chambers of the State House in Abuja. Congratulations to him. And we're moving from there to the next one. This one says, Tanko Mohammed's last battle as CJN. Tanko Mohammed's last battle as CJN, coming from the Punch newspaper, that is. We'll bring you all of that details on the show. Moving away to the Vanguard newspaper now. We have this one. Still, Buhari swears in Ariwola as acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. Buhari swears in Ariwola as acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. Congratulations. Like today is all out for the judiciary. That's what today is, because the next story still has it from the Vanguard that LPPC shortlist 125 lawyers for a senior advocate of Nigeria rank. The Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee, LPPC, has shortlisted 129 lawyers for elevation to the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN. We'll bring you all of the details on the show. Moving ahead, the Guardian newspaper is next. Of course, the calamity bedeviling us. Talking about ASU strike, the Academic Staff Union of Universities. This one is coming from the Guardian. It says, job market dependency. Ration worsens as youth remain idle. Job market dependency, ration worsen as youth dependency ratio worsen as youth remain idle. Okay? We'll bring you all of that details on the show. And coming from Daily Post about 2023, this one says, we didn't vote 6.5 trillion naira to compromise INEC by vote, says APC. APC replies PDP. 2023, we didn't vote 6.5 trillion naira to compromise INEC by vote. APC replies PDP. We'll give you details of that report as we progress. And just in from the Nation newspaper, suspected killers of Ahmed Gulak paraded in Owerri. Just in, suspected killers of Ahmed Gulak paraded in Owerri. We'll bring you all of the details on the show shortly. I'll be joined by our analyst, Barrister Leo Kwenyong. Kelvin Waka is standing by in Owerri, and of course, Chidi Ebube Okoma will be joining us. All of these on the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Nigeria Watch. Good evening. Welcome back and thank you for being there. Let's move straight ahead on the show. The president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired on Monday, swore in Justice Olukayode Ariwola as the acting chief judge of Nigeria at the council chambers of the State House, Abuja. Ariwola, who is the most senior justice of the Supreme Court, was sworn in at around 3 p.m. hours after the resignation of the former CJN, Tanko Mohammed. Born August 22, 1958, Justice Ariwola, who hails from Isheyin, Oyo State, was formerly a justice of the Court of Appeal before being elevated to the Supreme Court bench in 2011. Since the Buhari-led regime emerged in 2015, it has appointed 3 chief justices in both acting and substantive capacities. Okay, just before I join Barrister Leo Peyong, let me quickly welcome to the show Adekan Johnson. Good evening and welcome to Nigeria Watch. It's my pleasure to have you. Yes. Now, what do you make of the judiciary? It seems we're advancing progressively.
I think there's significant progress. It isn't it strange to find that on held ground, a CJN would want to give way so that that office will be functional. He's needed to resign, even when it's not yet his time. He's not holding on to the office. He's allowing other officers to take the responsibility of leading from the bench. So I think it's a sign that Nigerians, particularly the judiciary, is beginning to live up properly up to his bidding, and that's top-notch professionalism, in my opinion. Because I mean, he could have still decided to hold a whole lot of us to ransom, particularly now that we're within the midst of democracy or transition now.
And sit tight.
And he needed to do the honorable thing, which is to resign and give way for someone who is strong enough to be able to take those responsibilities that office demands.
The question is, how would one assess the judiciary from 1999 till date? Talking about our democracy, I don't think our democracy is nascent anymore.
I think there's a huge challenge with the judiciary, in my opinion, because you still find the judges writing manually, and so there's been so much burden that I'm sure it has so much effect on the personnel that's working within the. I don't think they have. I don't think they are properly equipped. I think they need to be looking at comparing notes with other parts of the world. We need to get to that point where justice is quickly dispensed. We have to see a situation where the judiciary intervenes where there's need to intervene, and with the appropriate tools in place, with the right personnel, enough hands on the deck to be able to deliver, particularly within a growing democracy like we have in Nigeria. And like I said, I'm pleased that the outgoing leader, it wasn't his time, needed to resign, give room for someone that is strong enough to carry on the responsibility. That's, of course, the demand that is huge, very huge, I'm sure.
Okay, but one of the attributes one could look back on in terms of the retired CJN, Tanko Mohammed, how would one now be able to assess his performance? How do you assess the performance of an outgoing chief judge?
When you look at the evolution, what he has been able to bring to the table, I mean, they're quite a number. The president later has tried to list a few of them. And the man, of course, do not forget that leadership is a team. He happens to be the one who superintends, at the head, at the echelon. And of course, getting the right team to be able to bring about the changes we're witnessing is something I want to give that credence to the outgoing CJN. And I hope that the man that is coming in will come in with a lot more energy, with creativity, a lot more of it, to be able to get us. We're not there. Of course, like I said, we need to see a digitalized judiciary. And I'm looking forward to that team that will bring about that revolution. And of course, it's necessary. Why? Because justice. Nigerians, every part of this country is crying for justice. I mean, from insecurity to all kinds of human rights violations here and there. We need to have a system where Nigerians enjoy the judiciary as it should be. Nigerians are able to enjoy the benefit of it, having that checks and balances between the judiciary arm of government and the executive. It's actually so much is expected of the new man that is coming in. I want to wish him well. I hope that it's a square peg in a square hole. I want to hope that he knows the what is expected of him in that office. He knows how much the high hopes of Nigerians when it comes to quick dispensation of justice, and that's it's top priority for every Nigerian, going by the level of injustice that we currently experience in most part of the country, and there's several other issues that we're battling with. So I think so much is expected of the new CJN. I hope and I wish him the very best as he takes over the mantle of leadership of men, the honorable men behind the scene.
Thank you so much. In case you've just joined us, you have the opportunity to be part of the show. The number is right there on the screen, 0907-177-1985. That is 0907-177-1985. What do you make of Nigeria judiciary at the moment, especially at such a point in time where the CJN, the retired Chief Justice of Nigeria, Tanko Mohammed, had said that, okay, I'm old, I'm not strong, I have to stay aside and allow other people. What do you make of this new trend in leadership? I'm still expecting that Barrister Leo will be joining us, but let's get to a short break now. When we come back, we'll take a look at more details, we'll pick your calls and lay more emphasis on what the judiciary is expected to be performing ahead of the 2023 general election. Stay with us on the show. Thank you and welcome back for joining us. We have Barrister Leo standing by with us. The LPPC shortlisted 129 lawyers for SAN rank. That's the Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee, LPPC, has shortlisted 129 Senior Advocates of Nigeria. SAN. Among these, the legal body okayed for the coveted rank are 73 practicing lawyers and 56 academic applicants. And the Supreme Court, the Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court, Hajar Sariki Bello, who doubles as Secretary of the LPPC, in a statement on Monday disclosed that the 129 applicants underwent both the advocate filtration stages and academic pre-qualification exercises. Thank you, Barrister Leo Ekpeyon, for joining us on Nigeria Watch. Good evening.
Thank you for having me.
What does this mean for the judiciary? 129 lawyers for SAN rank, unprecedented.
Hello?
I said 129 lawyers for SAN rank, unprecedented number.
Well, first of all, let me say a big congratulations for the individual professionals that have been shortlisted for the coveted rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. It is instructive to note that each year the number of candidates for the position of the SILK, that is the Office of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, keeps increasing. And I want to say without any fear of contradiction that this must be in consonance with the increasing number of legal practitioners that are turned out every year from the Nigerian law school into the legal profession. I must say that this is a good step in the right direction for the legal profession.
The question now would be, how far so far for the Nigerian judiciary? 1999, the democracy were practicing no more nascent. How would one weigh in the balance the performance of the judiciary vis-a-vis the 2023 elections? Can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Leo, can you hear me?
Yes, can you say that again?
How would one adjudge the performance of the judiciary vis-a-vis the 2023 general elections?
Please, can you take the question again? You are breaking.
Okay, Mr. Leo, I think we may have to reconnect you on the show so we can move ahead. Since we are talking the judiciary, the question now is, how do we weigh the judiciary in the balance? At what point would we say that yes, the judiciary is the last hope of the common man? Are we living up to the biddings, looking at the presidential pursuit of the Section 84, subsection 12 of the amended Electoral Act and all of this? Are we saying that, how do we credit the judiciary?
We must applaud them for, they brought so much to the table in recent times. I know that we're not there yet, like I said earlier, but we must commend them for the effort so far, because if you look at the reforms, the president...
sorry, I think Barrister Lee is back online. Good evening, welcome back.
Thank you, Absu.
Yes, I'm saying, how do we adjudge the judiciary from 1999 till date and going forward vis-a-vis the 2023 general elections? What do we expect of the judiciary?
Well, first of all, I would say that as a prelude to my assessment, it is instructive to note that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. And being one of the three branches of any administration globally, the judiciary in Nigeria has been able to show courage in terms of fairness, even though it cannot be said that it has been devoid of one or two decisions that may not have been in consonance with laid down procedures. You will agree with me too that the finality of the Supreme Court is enshrined in our laws, which is why it is described as the apex court. In fact, to buttress this point, the celebrated case of Adegoke Motors against Adesanya is very instructive, where the late Justice Chukwudifo Oputa, as he then was, said, that I quote, "We are infallible, not because we are final. Rather, we are final because we are infallible. The justices of the Supreme Court are human beings capable of erring. For it amount to short-sighted arrogance not to admit these obvious truths." In summary, to paraphrase, the finality of the Supreme Court is not predicated on its infallibility. Rather, its infallibility is predicated on its finality. So far, on a scale of 1 to 10, I want to say that the Supreme Court, in many cases than one, has proven itself, like the just decided case of President Muhammadu Buhari and Malami, the Attorney General of the Federation, as plaintiff against the National Assembly, which was struck out by the Supreme Court last week, is a case in point to show that the law is no respecter of persons, despite the fact that Mr. President and the Attorney General of the Federation were plaintiffs in that suit. The Supreme Court did not hesitate in striking out the suit because the case was not meritorious. So I would say that even though they are not infallible, but their finality has in more ways than one proven to be the cornerstone of the rule of law.
Okay, I would have loved to rejoin you, but before you leave, let's take a look at retired Chief Justice of the Federation, Justice Tanko Mohammed's last battle as CJN. We know the battle of 14 chief justices, rather, who's petitioned him on some issues of mismanagement of funds in the judiciary. How would one address these issues?
Well, the 14 justices of the Supreme Court wrote a petition to the CJN and against him for what they describe as poor welfare packages. I think there's a lot of them. They mentioned lack of electricity, internal electricity tariff, lack of internet facilities in their chambers, insufficient emolument, and so on and so forth. These all can be. They also mentioned medical facilities and so on and so forth. So these can all be subsumed into what can be described as the welfare of the justices. However, they still remain in the realm of allegations until they are proven otherwise. However,
how big is the new shoes for the new CJN? How big is the shoes of the CJN?
Well, Justice Ariwola, who has just been sworn in as the acting CJN of Nigeria, is a very fine gentleman and an erudite jurist whose journey on the ladder of the judiciary has spanned well over 3 decades. I think respectfully that given his pedigree as a judge of the High Court, from where he rose through the ranks to become a justice of the Court of Appeal, and having served in the Supreme Court for a couple of years, I think he has the requisite experience by virtue of his ascendancy on the bench to take up that responsibility. It remains to be seen how he would bring to bear his years of experience on the bench as a jurist.
Okay, just 45 days after Justice Mary Odili retired, CJN Tanko Mohammed resigned on health grounds. Truth is, Mohammed stopped functioning as CJN ages ago. Why would the villa keep him, prevent Justice Mary Odili of perhaps from serving as acting CJN, even for a day? One would ask.
Well, I don't see any sense of curiosity as to why that could have happened, but it is instructive to note that the ascendancy of judges and justices on the ladder of the bench is as a result or is a function of seniority. Justice Tanko, who just retired or who just resigned from the office of the CJN and as a justice of the Supreme Court, was the most senior justice. That he decided to throw in the towel and resign on health grounds clearly shows that that was the limit of his ability to continue in that office. We cannot say, there is no facts to show that there were lapses or there were issues as regards the reliction of duty in the office of the CJN.
Thank you.
To also suggest that Justice Nodili would have acted in his state.
Thank you.
Rather, the office of the CJN has been functional. And I think on this note, we should congratulate Justice Ariwola on his appointment and eventual swearing in as the acting CJN, while we say a big au revoir to retiring Justice Tanko.
Thank you so much. And we'll be rejoining you on video, via video. So we'll still like you to stick around. Barrister Leo will be back on the show. Stay with us. Moving ahead, ASU strike, job market Dependency ratio worsen as youth remain idle. And of course, the 2023 elections, we didn't vote 6.5 trillion to compromise INEC or buy votes, says APC. We'll be back on the show. Stay with us. This is Nigeria Watch. This is Nigeria Watch, and earlier today we received a report that the former special advisor to Governor Hope Uzodinma had resigned his appointment as resigned his position, and we want to find out from a reporter in the Wari talking about Collins Osuji is standing by to give us details of that. Good evening and welcome to the show, Nigeria Watch.
Thank you.
We've had one too many of the resignation of the governor of Imo State, talking about Hope Uzodinma, and this is the second in counting. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Oh, we need to let you go. Let's get to talk a little more about ASU strike. Job market dependency ratio worsens as youth remain idle. These are economic issues that should be talked about. These are issues that should be discussed. But it looks like nobody's worried about it.
Is that Nigeria is not a nation that depends on planning based on data. Because if we were to work with what we have, you know, if we're doing a sort of where our strength has been, particularly when it comes to economic development and political, you know, evolution, we'll realize that we have a manpower deficit because the young people that should be raised, that should be trained, have been at home, particularly in the tertiary institution, for months, you know, unhindered, and that's so unfortunate. We've talked about ASU strike for too many times. I feel it's insensitive on the part of government to still allow the young people remain at home. It's not just about the well-being of the educational sector. It's also about the health, the health status of that demography. The young people of this country let idle for as long as 6 months, for as long as, you know, this strike is reoccurring dismal every time. Now, so when you allow that, you've wounded the minds of these young people. I think something needs to be done. Why are we not talking about it? The politicians are busy working and earning income. They're not worried about the effect of not having a reasonable of producing a reasonable manpower for the labor market. Of course, the university, the tertiary institutions, and all of the linkages should be able to go into researches, should be able to bring about solutions to our economic and socioeconomic problems. But that's not the case because.
But can we also talk about
at home?
Can we also talk about the sustainability? What should the universities do to show themselves approved? To say that in years to come we can stand tall on our own and we can manufacture product. We can actually churn out people, the manpower that be able to manage the economy of this country.
The executive needs to redefine what value in terms of educational value should be, because you see you cannot operate an obsolete what do you call it this program. You can't bring what is obsolete to be the curriculum to teach our children. What do you expect them to produce? We actually copied even the obsolete curriculum from the colonial masters, and it's so wrong that we cannot bring about solution based on what our environment we are blessed by. Now, when you're setting up industries, for instance, you set industries that will thrive in areas where the raw materials are available. It's the same thing with education. When you're training young ones for human capital development, you cannot teach them what is alien to their immediate environment. You're going to teach them, you're going to bring about solutions based on what is familiar to them. So I think we have to reorganize what the values in terms of education should be, so that we can have these young people trained where they'll bring about solution. It should be Africanized, let me put it that way. So that when we are now exchanging these values abroad, that we are paying for values rather than the other way around. We're importing virtually everything.
We now have Chidi Ebube Okoma from Imo State. I think he's cut that a call again. I will keep trying him. Let's see if we can actually get him. In case you've just joined us, you have the opportunity to be part of the program. The number is 0907-177-1985. Let's open the phone lines now, and we can take some of your calls. And if you have any contribution, we would like to take on any of the topics that we've discussed, and this will make a great way forward for us. The number once again is 0907-177-1985. I have with me Anyekan Johnson in the building, and we will be rejoined by Barrister Leo on video, hoping that he will be here to talk with us on the program. But be that as it may, let's go for a short break. When we come back, Nigeria Watch continues. Stay with us. Thank you and welcome back on the show. We're going straight to Imo State, Owerri, where Imo Police Command on Monday paraded gunmen who allegedly murdered former aide of ex-President Goodluck Jonathan Ahmed Gulag last year along Ngorpala Airport Road in Owerri. I'm being joined now by a journalist and, of course, a reporter talking about Chidi Ebube Okoma. Good evening and welcome to Nigeria Watch.
Good evening, thank you for having me.
Yeah, what do we make of this story trending at the moment?
Just today, the Imo State Police spokesperson, CSP Michael Abatam, paraded some suspects ranging from various crimes, murder, child trafficking, armed robbery, kidnapping, and what have you. And prominent among the suspects was Chimodi from Ayazun, who the police spokesperson here in the state said was allegedly responsible for the murder of former political advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan, Ahmed Gulag, on May 30th, 2021, on his way to the Simon Bakwe International Airport. That was prominent among the cases that was reported, and according to the police spokesperson, the breakthrough was sequel to high-level investigation by operatives of the command. They said the command worked very, very strongly to make sure that the suspect was nabbed. That was exactly what he said today, and what transpired.
In the public places, it seems to be that this information contradicts what was in the public domain last year, having had the release some time ago that the police actually quelled those hoodlums who murdered the ex-aide of Goodluck Jonathan, President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes. You will remember that just a day after the killing of Ahmed Gulak. I mean 31st. He was actually killed on the 30th. Then on the 31st of May, the police, in conjunction with other security operatives, combed the suburb of the crime scene, and more especially a place called Inyogugu in Abondise, where some hoodlums engaged the security operatives in a gun duel. And the outcome of that security operation was the killing of about four suspected armed robbers. But today the police spokesperson told us that Chimobi was among some of the suspects who escaped during that operation. That was actually what he said.
It's okay.
He didn't deny the fact.
What with you?
He didn't deny. Yes, he didn't deny the fact that we are suspects. We were earlier killed. But he was trying to say. He was trying to say that this Chimobi was among those who were on the run.
Thank you.
So unfortunately for him, through discreet investigation, he was now arrested.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chidi Ebubekoma. Thank you. We appreciate your time on Nigeria Watch.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay. Just before we wrap things up, I would allow my friend Deacon Johnson to give us a wrap of what would seem to be the solution for ASU strike.
In my opinion, we have to go back to the drawing board. Education is the foundational human capital basement, and so if we're not, as a country, if we're not intentional about the content that we pass on to these young people, there is actually no future. So I think we have to, before it gets to issues of strike, because as far as I'm concerned, when you understand the value of what you're going to get, what you're going to obtain from a particular venture, you do everything to ensure that this crisis don't erupt. So if we don't address this value proposition one more time, foundationally, we have to get back to it. What is every child getting from the 6334 system? If we do not understand what this communicates to every child, if the relevancy of what we are obtaining in the universities is not equally, is not sine qua non to productivity, then we have been wasting time. We have been wasting generations, and we cannot continue to recycle, transgenerationally produce people who are not contributing to the productivity quotient of this nation. I want to ask that the government becomes deliberate and intentional about fixing what is constantly denying these children values.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time. I think the time is not enough, but you have to make the best use of the time you have available to you. I want to say a very big thank you to all the guys who's made this show thick. Talking about my director in the studio, Albert, thank you so much. My production assistants are Bayomi, thank you so much. And of course, our driver on the night duty, Terry Taf. At Theophilus. Thank you so much, Deacon Johnson. Thank you for being there.
Was my pleasure.
Thank you, Barrister Leo Ekpenyong, for standing by. We're going to do this tomorrow. Don't worry. We appreciate you. And of course, Chidi Ebubekoma from Imo State, who did come in. I love you. We can't do this more than we ever wished. Take care of yourself. Have a splendid night. Good night.